Hi, Joe from Central Jersey Conrail and N-Scale, and welcome back. This episode we're going to be painting the backdrop. We're going to get started on the staging yard. So let's get to work.
Okay, so let's get started painting. To paint the backdrop, I got blue from Lowe's. When I was there, I also picked up some white. The reason I did that is because I took the blue and then I added 2 quarts of white to 3 quarts of blue to make a different shade. So then what I did is I took the darker shade and painted it up top, and then the lighter shade is on the bottom there. So once the paint was up on the backdrop, I then took a nice clean brush and I feathered it in so it wouldn't be a defining line. Then after that, I went over with a clean dry roller to remove the brush marks. So the reason for all this is because I wanted to create that atmospheric haze. So when you look at the sky up above your head, it's a nice deep dark blue. But then as it gets down closer to the horizon line, it starts to lighten. So as you move along in this process, just keep an eye on your lighter color. I had to keep adding white as I went because the lighter color was getting contaminated with the darker color off of the rollers. So as you're going along, don't get too hung up on how the colors are blending. You want kind of a randomness to it, because if you look up at the sky, there's a random color in the sky. It's not a uniform blue. So as we're moving along, it's coming together really good. I'm very happy with the way it's coming out. There's some spots that I wasn't too happy with, but we'll go back later and we'll touch it up when we do the clouds, and it'll cover up any imperfections. So if you notice as I'm going along, I'm getting nice good coverage, and I can attribute that to the fact that I used a primer. So this way I didn't have to do multiple coats. And you want to avoid doing multiple coats when you're doing this, because then all that work you did blending the colors, you'll have to do all over again. Make sure when you're picking out your paint, you pick out a flat. Don't pick eggshell or semi-gloss, because they'll put a shine on the wall and it'll show up when you're taking video or pictures. Okay, so right around this point, I had to open my second can of dark blue because I ran out, and the color was a little bit different. So what I would recommend you do is use 1 can of blue to mix with, and then a separate can of blue for your darker color. This way you have a more uniform color throughout the room. Okay, so as we're wrapping it up here, some closing thoughts. I'm going to leave this paint up on the wall just the way it is, and while I'm working on track work and all that, and then we'll come back when we're doing scenery and I'll put in the clouds, and I'll probably also put some more haze on the bottom with white. So I hope you guys picked up some tips and techniques and watched me paint my backdrop, and maybe picked up some things you can use in your layout.
Okay everyone, so we're done with the backdrop for now. We're going to put it on pause. I did shade the paint towards the bottom as you saw in the video. However, I wasn't totally pleased with the outcome. The paint on the bottom of the backdrop dried a little darker than I expected, but that's okay. In a few months we're going to come back and we're going to put clouds in, and I'll also put some white haze down on the bottom close to the scenery level just to lighten it up a little more. The other reason I'm taking a break with the backdrop is because I'm getting the feeling from my subscribers and followers they're kind of confused where I'm going, and they're wondering why I haven't started laying track and putting up the main line. So the room is at a point now where I think I should go ahead and start laying track. So today we're going to start with the staging yard. Everybody out there is probably wondering, why are we starting with the staging yard? We don't have a main line yet. My reasoning is my staging yard is set at 36 inches due to the construction of the closet and the stairway. So the staging yard is going to come into the layout room at 36 inches, and it's going to need to get up to the 50-inch level of the main line. And we're going to do this through the use of a helix. Now, I can't start constructing the helix until I see the lines coming in from the staging yard. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and get the staging yard done, and then we'll break through the wall, and then we'll start with the helix. So with that being said, let's go take a look at the staging yard. Okay everyone, so you can see this is the closet where the staging yard is. And if you look in here, it's kind of tight. It's about roughly 4 feet wide. This here is the stairway that comes down, and there's a bottom level here, and that is why I have to get underneath it to come into the layout room. Initially, by design, I had configured the staging yard to have 8 tracks. However, when I started laying out the tracks and the turnouts, I found that the 8 tracks wasn't going to work because I didn't consider the length of the turnouts. So let me see if I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. So the first thing I did in the planning process when I was laying out the track was I took my turnouts and I went and photocopied them. So I made nice paper cutouts of the turnouts so I can get the actual size. So when you put them on your scanner or your photocopier, make sure that you're set at actual size, or else they'll reduce them or enlarge them, and it'll kind of make it difficult when you're doing your planning process. So this is a very inexpensive way to get your turnouts to find out which ones you're going to use. These here are microengineering number 6s, and these here are Atlas 2.5Ys. And they're both code 55 turnouts. So what I then did is I took these and laid them out on the benchwork for the staging yard to visualize how the ladder of the yard was going to look. So let me see if I can lay these out and demonstrate for you guys. Okay, so I've laid out the ladder of the yard using the 2.5Ys. Now, this was a tip that I got from Model Railroader a couple months ago in one of their workshop tips. The thinking behind using the 2.5Ys is that you can reduce the overall length of your yard ladder. Now this is all well and good, however, for this particular staging yard of where I need the track to penetrate through to come into the layout room, having this beginning turnout centered down the middle of the yard is just not going to work. I need the track to enter in the layout room on this side of the wall. So now let me lay out the yard ladder using the number 6 microengineering turnouts. So now I've laid out the yard ladder using the number 6 turnouts. And as you can see, the ladder is considerably longer, approximately 2 car lengths longer. However, I can now have my entrance to the staging yard up against this wall, and I don't have to have the turnouts centered down the center of the staging yard. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these turnouts up again where they should be, so you can visualize how the staging yard is going to be laid out. Okay, so there's the position of the yard ladder. It's going to be 6 turnouts long. The entrance will be over on that back wall over there, and then you'll have these series of turnouts here giving me 6 tracks. The longest being this one over here, which will be 18 cars, and then the shortest being this one here, which will hold 11 cars. And I laid this track in here just to test the clearance on the edge. I'm probably gonna have to put a sneeze guard in here, so in case there's any derailments, the cars don't go on the ground. There you have it. There's your introduction to the staging yard. So now hopefully you guys can visualize what we're going to be doing with that. So now now that I know how much materials I need and how many turnouts and all that stuff, I'm going to go ahead and get online. I'm going to order the stuff and spend some money. So that's going to put a wrap on episode 8. Next time, episode 9, we're going to be focused on the construction of the staging yard, laying track, putting in track feeders, bus lines, and we'll also get started on the base level for the helix. So that's it for today. I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody out there you know, the YouTube channel is really starting to take off on its own. This month we've got 36 new subscribers since the last episode came out, and episode 7 was by far our best performing episode yet. We've got 200 views in a month. So thank you all for following, and thank you very much for all your positive comments, and it's really keeping me going and giving me motivation to keep doing these videos. So I hope everybody's picking up some tips out there. I hope they're finding stuff that they can use on their layout. And if you like this video, please tell me so. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and so you can follow us along, because we're getting ready to start laying track, and we should be running trains very soon. All right, so we'll see you next time. Thanks.